Loud. Whew, I'm amazed if this is all gonna work here.
Right.
And now we're gonna go back into full screen. Now, has anybody gotten into that Zoom link and can you see this stuff on your monitor? Awesome. Well, it's almost like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Okay, so let me get the other group in here and then we'll get going. So, let me get the other group in.
Seven of them.
So I'll do a little intro and then I'll let you take over.
Yeah.
So John and then everything. Yeah. So we do have some empty seats for second year students. If you guys wanna sit at an actual computer, you're welcome to do that. We're gonna go with the mood lighting a little bit here so everybody can see the presentation. Well, should I change this to move it more to an angle if that's not, it's not gonna work. Okay, thank you all for attending. I'd like you to welcome Zach Hummer. He's a graduate, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah. Coming
And
on 3.
got a really interesting job. I was just mentioning to him, he's the only person that I know that makes their living primarily using SketchUp. I used it in the real world, but it wasn't like my primary thing. So those of you, we're gonna get a treat here because he's doing pretty high-end stuff with SketchUp and he's into the rendering, he's into the lighting. So he's gonna give us kind of some insights as to what he does on the job and how he uses SketchUp as part of his job. So let's give him a big round of applause and let's see what he's got to show.
Thank you. How do I get out of this viewport? I don't give a lot of presentations with.
So hit
Yeah.
swaps presenter and slideshow.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, as Pete said, I work at Ashley Furniture over in Arcadia. Our whole kind of group or our department is the interior design department. I fall into a team along with a few others that primarily focus on facades or exterior construction. We do also have offices down in Ybor, Florida. So there is the possibility, if you guys are interested in working in our design department, that you could also, relocate down to Florida if you're tired of the Wisconsin winters. So that is always something that is kind of fun. I've been down there 3 times now. So I got to fly on the jet down to Florida and just hang out and get away from the wife and kid for a little bit. And then I've also on track to travel to Texas later this year. I'm going to check out a few stores that I've designed. And then, we're like, as designers, especially interior, we're always traveling, checking out new locations, checking out the existing stores and really getting the lay of the land and figuring out what needs to be done and how do we move forward. Because, when you enter into a building, there's a lot of drop ceilings, there's a lot of ACT, there's a whole lot of wonky stuff that happens, especially in construction. And so then we just kind of got to figure out how to approach each and every project. So moving to kind of Ashley Spiel. Our brand has kind of gone through a little bit of changes ever since I've been there. When I got to Ashley, it was this logo right here. And then we finally decided to get to this one. And then we've also rebranded our Ashley outlets. So it's become a challenge because not only do we have to do that legally, but we then also have to get every single person that owns and operates an Ashley Furniture Store. We also have to get them on board in order and spend the money to change all of the signs that they have on their buildings. So it's challenging. Like it says, I think we have around 1,005 or 1,050 locations right now. So it gets to be a lot. And me being the lead domestic designer right now, I'm handling all the hundreds of domestic within the 50 state stores for their branding updates or exterior changes. A little bit about what we are. Like I had mentioned, we have 2 locations. We have about 50 staff in our department right now. And that ranges anywhere from merchandise designers to interior designers that handle the layouts of the store. There's the facade designers, what I do. And then it goes in a little deeper. We now have a design support team that gets the received CAD. And then we have to layer translate it to our certain layers. And, they have to take care of all the XREFs that come embedded within a CAD file. So it's a lot of translating. It's a lot of stuff, and every single architect around the country and even in other countries are vastly different in how they draw. So it's quite a headache when we receive all of those big CAD files for certain locations. Yes, like I said, design construction. So the domestic home store construction, outlet construction, enterprise construction, and international construction. What we really do is we plan multiple retail paths for 1-story, multi-story, small, large. We have what we call our A, B, and C models. That's basically, it all depends on sale projections, and that's our business development team that communicates with us what they're projected to do at one location. There's a lot of intricate details when a new project is getting started up. So that's one of the things that we have to take into consideration when designing the store. You'll also see that they'll convert the CAD files to the Ashley standard, obviously, and then we'll produce wall plans. They can be very thorough, or they can be very simplistic. It all depends on the needs of the licensee or the owner of the store. Like I said about the store merchandise team, they also work with the CAD designer. And they basically, if you see this CAD plan right here, there's quite a bit of SKU furniture models or furniture boxes that have to be placed on a floor plan, and they all have to fit. And we have to get every single piece of furniture that we are currently using into that CAD plan. So merch designers, they have quite a difficult job, especially when you look at the wide range of different stores we get. We can either get an 80,000 square foot box, or we can get a 2,700 square foot box. And that would be international. Those are the worst. They are very challenging when you have such limited space. But also the big boxes where we have like an old Kmart, or if we're taking over an old Toys R Us, those can also be quite challenging as well, because, we don't want it to look like an old Toys R Us anymore. We want it to look like an Ashley store. So, at either end of the spectrum, it can be a challenge either way. Our digital assets team, I don't know if Pete has ever worked in Cahoom before or heard of it. Really what it is, if you look at the top right, um, it's a way to kind of 3D model in a more kind of interior aspect in order to place furniture models in order so our licensees or our owners of stores, they're not necessarily knowledgeable when it comes to modeling systems or they can't really visualize a CAD. So we use this tool in order to help them visualize the space. And then also adding or incorporating furniture models in there, they can really help kind of see it come to life. So it aids them a little bit more so they can make a educated decision. Before we move on, are there any questions? I don't want to.
So, in Cahoon, do you bring in a CAD file in there, or is it all created in Cahoon?
You can import a CAD. It kind of comes in as almost like a PDF, really. But you're able to draw off of it and whatnot. I don't mess with Cahoon a lot. We are now breaking into. We have a very own Cahoon team that handles all that stuff. I have the monster of facade by myself, really. So what they do, and then we have our branding team that uses 3ds Max in order to create these three-dimensional furniture models, and then we have that loaded up, and then we can transport it into the Cahoon model once it's all said and done.
And one follow-up question on AutoCAD, it looked like you're doing your store, the interior people are doing the store layout, that's in 2D AutoCAD,
Correct. Yes.
so you're using two software. So you're using SketchUp and are you using, I noticed that you get drawings in Revit and then you keep them in Revit if they come in, or do you switch them back to AutoCAD for you?
All received information from the owners of these new stores or existing stores come to us in CAD. Yeah, I haven't come across any architect or anybody, delivering Revit models or files yet. I would appreciate it, but it would make my job a little easier since I have it all there currently. But yeah, CAD is what we primarily deal with. And for interior wise, mapping out the interior of the store comes pretty fast, especially when you're doing it over and over and over again. And then these are all furniture assets that we have created and that they're on our NetServe. So when the merchandise team gets the floor plan for that said store, then they can just start picking and choosing which SKU numbers go where. And then the flow of the store is all kind of depicted by the interior layout and then even what season we're currently in. So our furniture products or our products are going to be changing here in the next few months. So people that are in line to open up a store in November or December, they're going to get a certain set of furniture SKUs. And then if there's a store opening in January, they're going to get a completely different one. So it's pretty crazy.
When just that follow-up question for you know.
Yeah.
You guys have a company jet, is that what you're flying on, or are you flying?
Yeah, for the most part, we do have a company jet that will go back and forth from Ybor to Florida quite a bit. It will also go out to Las Vegas because we have a huge furniture market out there. And then we also have an East Coast furniture market over New York. And so the jet will fly out there. If you're going to like some podunk towns or something like that, where it's you gotta fly commercial. So, but yeah, it's pretty fun.
Well, available. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about the your design, like two numbers and like those.
Yeah.
You have a separate team. They do the rest.
we have a few CAD technicians that are specifically working on our CAD asset library. So if there are new CAD SKUs that need to be implemented, or if we're going with new cabinetry in our break rooms, they will go in and they will draw all that up. They'll do the section cut and all that. So they handle all of that, and that is solely their job. Is just updating the asset library. Anybody else? What I had mentioned kind of earlier in the presentation, we have also a digital design team. This is something new for us. This has been going on for about 1.5 years now, where our design team will work directly with customers and they will plan furniture layouts for a bedroom or a living room and stuff like that. It's really new and young, so we're still trying to figure out the entire spectrum of what we cover with this team. But yeah, it's working directly one-on-one with customers that are actually purchasing the furniture. Now, obviously, we're specifying Ashley Furniture, but yeah, it's actually proven to be a significant tool when it comes to making money for the company. So I believe it's going to be going strong. I don't know if the team will be getting any larger. I want to say majority of the team currently is in Ybor, Florida. I think we have 1 or 2 designers in Arcadia right now. Visual interior design. This is also another, oh, excuse me. This is another kind of team that we've also developed, and it's again just working with customers, just talking about what they're really looking for as far as look and feel when it comes to designing their interior spaces. And then lastly is my team right now. So that's the facade construction. What I do is I will do is little or a lot with a full construction set for the exterior. It all kind of depends on what I have the ability to do for the exterior, and it all depends on what their architect that is over in that city needs from me. So I can just come up with some concept renderings, like what you see with the middle picture and the lower picture. This lower picture was done in SketchUp. That is the Las Vegas curve. I literally just had to do some concept work, and then I had to do some simplified elevations and then kind of pass that along to the architect and then have constant communication with him. What's up? Oh, I saw your hand up and you're wiggling your fingers. But so and as Pete mentioned, I particularly just specialize in SketchUp, and then use CAD obviously because you can export your SketchUp models into 2D DWG files. So it makes it super simple. I don't have to sit there and draw. Really, all it is just changing up the line weights and then, you know, dimensioning and all that different stuff. So to jump into a recent project of mine, this took place in Troy, Ohio. This was I think a 27,000 square box. And it was budgeted at about 3 million. So ground up, and they were going with a steel construction. So you can't tell from the front of it, but it is a gable roof. So kind of like a pole shed, if you will. What I did is to help kind of disguise that, because that's not certainly the look that we want in retail, is a gable roof, kind of tin roof looking kind of thing. I just extended the parapets up to kind of give it a false wall, and really just kind of help set the scene. I also, before I went over budget, I also integrated some lighting and whatnot, but yeah, also I apologize. I added the wrong top picture. The nighttime picture where I'm showing it illuminated and whatnot, that was the approved upon design. But for this specific location, I believe I had 6 or 7 different exterior design schemes for this. So it just goes to show you like how much, you know, things can change and how much you can manipulate a building. And then it also goes to show you how much you know, revisions or redesigning I have to go through with upper management, and then also dealing with the licensee or owner. Next, this was a branding update that I did a little bit ago. That's the top right is what was currently happening. Now obviously that's not a very good look for Ashley. So, you know, to elevate the brand, that's our sole job really. And then down below is what we kind of fell on. Painting brick white can really help modernize it and make it look really elegant and classy. So that is, if you have a brick building, kind of paint it white. And then you guess what? You have a brand new building. Yeah, and then just updating like some architectural features. I had to spec some kind of lanterns or wall sconces that were near the entry. And then, you know, I really had to figure out a lot of one of the major things that I have to deal with is city codes or ordinances when it comes to signage, how much square footage I'm allowed to use. In this particular instance, I believe we still had about 75 square feet of usable space. So that's where the secondary signage comes into play. Each of those is about 20 to 25 square feet, which is a pretty large sign. But yeah, that's Columbus, Georgia. Next, this was also a very recent branding update. Just again, going through the motions of applying paint and then really just trying to figure out what's going to look best and what's, again, going to elevate the brand. All the past few slides that I've showed you have been done in SketchUp. So, again, yeah, SketchUp is a viable option just for those of you who are kind of uncertain of which modeling system that you would want to use. And then lastly, this was, or not lastly, but recently, 4 weeks ago, I had this store come to me. This is in Paramaribo, Suriname. So obviously it's an international store. As you can see from the right two pictures, it was not great. But luckily the people there had a big budget and materials were not as expensive as they are currently here. So we were able to do quite a bit and really manipulate the exterior to make it look good. And then also about around the same time, I had this store in Mexico take place. So the bottom right picture, it was blank canvas. So I really just had to work with the owner of the building and really understand what he wants to see, and then adapt that to our Ashley kind of design direction. So he really wanted a glass atrium. And if it was all glass, it wouldn't be the best way to apply a sign to the entry area. So kind of got the best of both worlds. It really opens it up and allows a lot of sunlight in there. It turned out pretty great. So it's a project moving forward. International stores move crazy fast. They get done in no time. I don't know how they do it because for us to get a store done here in the States, it takes like 3 months sometimes or 4 months. So I'm expecting to see this maybe finish up by the end of next month, which is kind of crazy. And that is the end of my presentation. Is there any questions about what I do for Ashley? Or any questions at all? Yes.
that into like layout and stuff like that? You're modeling into.
Yeah, that, I use SketchUp, for one, it's fast. Especially for me now, because I've been doing it for so long, I can get a store built up with materials applied to each face, in about like 2 hours. So turnaround for me to get it complete is really fast. But yeah, creating these visuals, for the owner really helps sell the idea for them to invest money into their new store. So if I can model it and make it look as realistic as possible and make it look pretty, more 9 times out of 10, they are going to be they're going to be sold on it. They're going to want to move forward. So and then well with doing construction documents again, like I said earlier, it really varies on how much information their architect needs from me. So if I have to do elevations, I will do some of that. I'll add in some section cuts for the walls to show thicknesses, to show construction, and then heights and whatnot. It really doesn't need to move beyond that, because I'm not well versed in certain codes for that state. So I kind of just hand as much information as I possibly can to the architect and then let him or her take it from there.
Do you have any remote opportunities working from home?
over opportunity.
Yes, currently right now we can work from home a few times. It really just depends, if you have an appointment, you can work from home. If your kid's sick, you can work from home. If you just want to work from home, you can work from home. They do appreciate you coming into the office because, the whole kind of corporate culture aspect, working as one, face to face, that stuff, being in a conference room. I get it. I do appreciate that and I do like it, but yes, I also do really like working from home. So there is a balance there. Just can't take it for granted, if you will. Anything else? So which yeah, that doesn't necessarily have to be within a certain range of our offices. They've set up meetings with people across the country. So really, if the person wants to pay for our service of showing them what their, room could potentially look like, then they'll go through with that. So it really it just kind of boils down to the customer and, taking that leap and contacting us and then setting it all up. Yeah. Majority of those designers are down in Florida. Anything else? All right. So I would have a lot more to show you guys as far as SketchUp goes. I mean, I can still show you a bunch because I have SketchUp open permanently on my computer and I have a store model currently up right now. It's our net serve went down. We got hacked. So, but what I was going to really show you guys is what I do as far as my steps when starting a model. And so as you can see here, I have a finished model right now. I took some renderings and I sent a proposal packet out yesterday afternoon. But for me, what I do when I'm starting a project is I will import the CAD. So the CAD floor plan, and CAD elevations if I have them. And so for this particular instance, I do have them. So it made it quite easy, and it made the process really fast. If I don't have elevations, then I'm in Google Maps and I'm kind of eyeballing it and using doors to help me measure wall heights. So that's one thing. So after cleaning up the CAD, because a lot of details and outlet markers and all these different things, I go ahead and I clean it up to its very basic form, just showing walls and thicknesses and whatnot, and columns. What I do is, instead of drawing with just your pencil and making a box, what I do is I take the rectangle tool. Is everybody familiar here with SketchUp? Has everybody used it? Okay.
Some are just learning it, other ones, we have first and second year, they're just learning it the first year and the
Okay.
second year.
Okay, so the rectangle tool obviously is this one right here. And what I will do is I'll just take this rectangle and then I will section it up right here to the thickness of the wall. And then I'll take the push pull or the extrude tool. And now another thing is using Control and Shift while using different tools will help you, or it will perform different tasks. So if I were to just use the normal push pull or the extrude tool, it will pull this up and it will make a box, but the base of it is probably going to be empty. If it more 9 times out of 10, it's going to be empty. But normally what I would do is hit Control and then you get a little plus icon with your cursor, and that will allow you to have a complete solid box. And then what I would do is I would just pull this up to the respective height of this section of wall. And then using the push pull tool, I will pan around the floor plan. And then in order to kind of go around this corner, again, hit the Control button, and as you can see, it will divide this section into 2 respective boxes, and then unclick the Control button, and then we're pulling it down this way. So this allows us to get wall thicknesses, obviously, and then when doing that, again, this is kind of personal preference. I will hit the Control button when it comes to spanning a window. So then I already have the width of the window set by lines created with just simply using the Control button. I don't have to come back and draw lines. And then this, if we were to just draw our top or bottom sill and top sill, then you use the push, the extrude, and we're gonna delete. There we go. We have an opening for our windows, and then what you can do is individually create those windows and group them or make them a component. Do you guys know the difference between component and group? Perfect. So if you have a lot of different windows that are the same, make them a component, and then you can change them up. Even columns work really well doing that as too. Changing them individually at a time is time consuming. So if you can, make them a component whenever. So moving from that, so as you can tell, when I click in, I have my window there, and then I just hide it, but there is my window opening. You guys are a little bit more knowledgeable than I thought about SketchUp, so.
I don't teach it, so it's the other instructors that do it.
Yeah. Another thing is, if you are needing to draw with the pencil, you guys know using the arrow keys will lock you to your red and green and blue axes. So that's another way to achieve a perfect line in order for you to not make mistakes, because as you know, like it's very easy to draw a line that has like a 1 degree angle on it. And then everything gets all screwy and then you have to start over. I suppose I can just jump right into Enscape then, since you guys are good to go with SketchUp. Oh, before I go, or switch topics, lighting is right here. So the Enscape objects, this is the lighting toolbar, if you will. We have our sphere, which is just a ball that you're gonna place throughout. Normally I don't use this. It doesn't have the greatest ability to light an area. For interiors, I will primarily go with a rectangle. So what I will do, and so you double click to place it, and then you make your rectangle, and then you can adjust the widths of it. What I will do for interiors is I will, let me do it. For interiors, what I will do is I will have a lot of these different rectangles. And then I will array them across as well. And then I'll group them as a whole. And then within the group, I will adjust them with angles, and it washes a little bit more instead of creating like a spotlight. It just creates a nice interior kind of glow, so to speak. I wish I had the ability to show you that when it's all said and done. It looks better. And then I will say there is also the line lighting tool or whatever, where it's, and it cracks. That's fine.
Does it crash off?
Not so often that it's a problem. Yeah. And
With your exterior records, or is that you also do it?
I'm doing both. Yes. If there are exterior lights, wall sconces, or security floodlights, I will have that in the renderings. And if I am adding additional lighting, I will definitely take a night rendering, so to speak, in order to help kind of portray the overall look to that. So this was one where you take a spotlight, so it's the cone or whatever. And what I did is I placed the cones right here and had them shining up. And then this is a wood material, so I had to go in and manipulate the wood material with a bump map in order to give it some texture and really show the material and kind of reflect what I wanted it to look like. The same goes with this one. And that's where, have you checked out the IES library before? Unfortunately, IES files are only available for SketchUp. For whatever reason, Revit doesn't do it. Revit just allows simple lighting elements in there, but with an IES file attached to a lighting element in SketchUp, you have the ability to change profiles of your lights. So you can get a nice sleek 10-degree beam washing against the wall, or you can go as wide as 65 degrees. You know, it's there's a whole bunch, and I think I still have it pulled up. Yes. Yeah, so sure. Yeah.
Did you have to pay for this IES library?
No, it's completely free. So again, with the IES, I mean, there's hundreds upon hundreds of different profiles that you can choose from. Again, instead of just having simple cones of lighting, it really just helps set the realism to another level as far as lighting goes. For also for Enscape or SketchUp, sorry. What I've been doing is I've been working on side projects, just kind of building my portfolio. I I won't say that I've used company time to do these, but it's something that I've really kind of driven myself to get better at, as far as and exploring the full aspect of what I can do in SketchUp. So for LED strip lighting as well, using that line light, which what I was trying to show you guys in before it crashed. Instead of using that line light, because it only has a length distance of I believe 1.5 meters long. So you have to copy a whole bunch of different ones. Take a color in the colors named file that you're never going to use, and then make that color self-illuminating. And then you can essentially make your own kind of LED strip lighting to and then you can change the lumens or candelas to it. So that's what I did here. So on the back face of these letters, I just took a material, made it self-illuminating, and then drew it like an inch off the wall in order to create this haloing effect. That's an old one. Again, I've also been experimenting with interiors. When you start importing a bunch of elements like what you see in here, so like all these individual pillows, you can bog yourself down. But that depends on like what kind of hardware you're dealing with. For me, dealing with an itty bitty little laptop, the wheel is turning quite a bit, but I'm assuming for you guys, you guys can handle a lot more. So, but for interiors, I will say just Google it every single time. See what other people are doing. If trends kind of come and go, but there are some trends that last quite a bit. So, Google is always permanently open, and I will be Googling colors. I'll be Googling different tiles, like what's popular and whatnot. So all of I did this coffee table by myself. I just modeled it myself, and then I made a glass top to it. The couch is from the 3D warehouse. Have you guys explored that at all? Yeah. That is a great place to get some great assets, and also a great place to not get great assets. But if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find a lot of great stuff in there. A lot of the smaller stuff, I believe this was also from the 3D warehouse. If it's furniture is really hard to model in SketchUp, because especially if it has curves, and as well as I do that SketchUp doesn't like curves. So if you have a curvy piece of furniture and 3ds Max, do it in 3ds Max, and then you can bring it over to SketchUp. Just make sure that you like explode it as much as you can, because otherwise there's a lot of polylines, and having it I've crashed my computer a few times, just completely bricked it. So it's a lot of different things that you can do, but when it comes to the solid pieces of furniture like the cabinetry and the island, I've modeled that, and we've already looked at that. I've also experimented with making a rainy kind of day instead of having the nice bright landscape. The trick to this is, in order to get the asphalt to look like this, you take your seamless texture for your asphalt and you bring it into Photoshop. And then with Photoshop, you apply an overlay to it of clouds. And then, you can play with it a little bit more to make it look or add more clouds, take away clouds. It's a whole thing. And it's a rabbit hole to jump down in. But if you want to be a little moody and show off, then by all means go for it and make it look like it just got done raining. So, but it is a pain in the butt. What else? Um, I've also been, this was completely done in SketchUp for myself. This was quite a build. This is also where I found the texture randomizer tool. I don't know, have you guys looked into Sketchucation at all? That is a library. You have to pay for it. It's a library of different tools that creators have made that you can import into your extensions manager. It is fantastic. So instead of, applying a wood grain pattern to a bunch of faces and you have knots all in the same line, what you can do is you can take each of those planks and you can randomize the texture like it says with the title, and you can get a more natural look like what you see with this picture. Not that one, this one. And excuse me. Man, I wish my SketchUp didn't crash, but I have a few here for you. There are any questions that I can answer for you guys, like while I'm like trying to pull myself back together? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get all of my materials from SketchUp Texture Club. This is free. If you pay like the $2.99 a year, you will have the ability to have PBR textures. And so that's where you can have your displacement maps, your bump maps and normal maps. So you really get a lot of information. And as you can tell from all of the files here, they have quite a bit of seamless textures that look really well. And then I obviously I download each and every single one that I've used, and I have it in a file on my computer that I pull from every single time. There we go. I'm gonna launch this. This is a side project that I've been working on, just to help kind of demonstrate some additional lighting for you guys. So where I left off was the line, but again, I explained to you guys, go with a self-illuminating tool, and that's where you can go here. So for instance, if I, or not that. So if I just were to take this, all right. And then apply it to this here. With this tool, then you, instead of generic, you got all these different, you just go self-illuminating and then you adjust the candles per square meters. And then within Enscape, that's when you'll see it. And then obviously you'll have to adjust from there because you can't really do anything about it until you see what it's like in person. For the other ones, we went over the rectangle. The disc I've never dealt with. I'm assuming it's the same as the rectangles. It's just now it's a circle. So it's even more hard to work with because again, curves. And then, from, so if I were to add, a spotlight to here, and cast it this way, here, this is where Revit and SketchUp are different, and this is where you have your IES files. So you just click on that, and right now it's on my desktop. They all populate with these crazy numbers and letters. So do your best at just kind of describing the profile, and that's how you should save it onto your desktop. But that, okay. As far as like the toolbars that I have up here, there's probably quite a few that you guys haven't seen before. I have the 1001 bit toolbar. That is free. I think I sent you the link to that one. So that's this massive toolbar down here to help with, you can make extruded profiles that kind of mimic the same as the Follow Me tool. This allows you to just have a crazier profile. So if you wanted to make a like a big sweeping staircase, this would allow you to, cast it along the correct path. This will also include, it can make grills or grates for you. I don't ever do that because, again, it's a lot of information that has to be processed especially when you're rendering. But the automatic stair tools are nice because all I have to do is just punch in a few numbers, and then it will automatically create my staircase, just like so. So that has been a blessing. The same goes for, I can make escalators. I can make the spiral staircase. Another great one is, if I have very standardized windows, all I have to do is just add a few numbers again, and it will make me a window. And so to show you guys, why does it keep closing that? To kind of show you guys what how it works. So I would make a rectangle or a square, and that is supposedly my window. And with the window tool, I would create window, and we have window. So again, but it has to be very standardized windows. You can manipulate it as a lot, but as you know, with architecture, nobody likes just regular looking windows, so it's all got to be kind of wonky sometimes. And then there is also the ability to make roofs with this as well. So I can create the ridge rafters for it, and it's a great tool. So I would definitely.
So could you send me that again?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the 1001 bit is great. Is there anything else? Like, I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. As soon as SketchUp crashed, I fell apart.
Yeah, so this is all, all good stuff. So, we understand what software is that.
Yeah, yeah. And so this was one thing. I will say, yeah, group everything. That helps. Like if you have to manipulate something, and as well as I do, if it's not grouped and you start to manipulate it, something somewhere is going to go wrong. So I have my roof, but then I also have like the metal standing seams grouped separately from the roof. So yeah, it may seem tedious, but in the long run, it really just kind of keeps everything from falling apart. And yeah, is there anything else from you guys?
It's different for every company. Find what you started with Ashley, but they kind of told you what, figure out how to get there. They didn't tell you this is the software you have.
Oh, no. So when I got to Ashley, they were trying to really figure out what programs they wanted to use. So for majority of it, I mean, some designers were using Photoshop just to, you know, design a building. There was a few that were using Revit. When I got there, they were considering getting rid of their SketchUp license. But then I got there and I started using SketchUp, and, you know, I really kind of pushed myself to become as good as I possibly could be. And SketchUp has really done a great job at, you know, improving its software itself. You know, the limitations are still there, but there's not as many as what they're used to be. Because, you know, SketchUp 2018 was not great, but now, like in 2023, it's, you know, it's really turned around, and there's a lot of great stuff that you can do with SketchUp. So I really wasn't expecting to end up using SketchUp, but I fell into it, and I've improved. And so, yeah, now a lot of our other designers use SketchUp as well.
Any other questions? Well, thanks so much, Zach. Let's give him a
Yeah.
round of applause.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to come here. I will say that we also have a big opportunity for internships. So if I know you guys have summer classes still, yeah, but an internship is very flexible with your guys' school schedule. The drive to Arcadia isn't bad, and it's great learning opportunity, and you get paid for it. But we'll probably have a few interns over the winter. And then summer really kicks off. We usually get like 6 interns during the summer. Some of them go to Ybor down in Florida, but this last summer we had 4 in Arcadia with us. So, and 2 of them came from Eau Claire. One came from Green Bay. I don't know what she must have been just like back, like for family and stuff. But yeah, the internships, I've shared that link with Pete before, so he has that information. So if you guys are interested in that, it's a good time. You get kind of tossed right into it and gotta swim. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, well, thank you. No more questions? Did you last have somebody in the real world team on your program you want to ask, like, advice about job, what it's like the first day at work? Anybody care about any of that? That's all they actually need to do.
Yeah. I will say that your like portfolio doesn't have to be perfect. Like, don't stress that. Like, I mean, it should show that you guys have potential. It should show that you're knowledgeable. But it doesn't have to be crazy good by any means. And it just shows that you got the fundamentals down. You learn so much more when you're actually in the job itself. And yeah, during interviews, just be personable. You don't have to be like architecture like whiz to like answer all the questions. Just yeah, that's
What we do about, we do it.
yeah. What made me decide? It's funny too, because I got offered another position by River Architects up in Eau Claire at the same time. Like, so River Architects called me, and then I had just gotten out of the interview with Ashley. But I was like, I don't know if I wanted to go all the way to Eau Claire, just having to like uproot and move. because all of my family is here in this area. And so after having my interview with Ashley, I waited like 2 days. I told River that I had to think about it, but I knew right away. I was like, if I got offered a job from Ashley, I'd take it again, because, you know, I'm still within the area that I'm familiar with. And so, after a few days, I sent an email to Ashley. I was like, hey, I got this other job interview. Can I take it, or are you guys going to offer me something? So I play a little hardball, during the process. You know, it paid off, because like an hour later they offered me the job. So, but yeah, taking it at Ashley, the pay was the same. Benefits for Ashley are pretty great, even though I don't need them. But yeah, and then I think just the culture of it too, the amount of different avenues of work that I can do. Because at River Architect, I was just going to be a CAD tech, and I was just like, I don't know if just working CAD all day sounds like the greatest. I do appreciate CAD for what it is. It just doesn't get the juices going for me, like 3D modeling and, you know, seeing it like come together at the very end. And then, you know, it looks really pretty in Enscape when you've worked pretty hard on it. That's so the flexibility of what I wanted to do for Ashley was also another factor for that. Sorry, what was? I actually didn't think I was gonna do commercial. Commercial is definitely easier than residential. Residential, I mean, you guys will find out that residential, like putting together a floor plan, is hard. You know, just tight spaces, and like just trying to make the flow for an interior space is really tough. So commercial is definitely easier. But I never really wanted to do commercial. I was always kind of torn. I still am, as you can tell. Like, I've modeled a house. I've done interior bedrooms and like kitchens. So there is that love to do interior stuff, because you can really create something great. But for both, yeah, commercial is fun, and I don't know, it's kind of all I can do at Ashley is commercial. So
Okay, last chance, any other questions? Okay, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Pat.
oh
Good job.
yeah, well, I have the ability to connect to the master.
Yeah, well, it always,
Yeah.
stuff always happens, so. Get the lights on here so they can. Maybe I should introduce our new instructor here. This is Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I mean, I came in here with a plan, and then like, you know, my SketchUp crashed, and then it all fell apart, and I was like, God damn it, dude. I was like, I can't connect to my NetServe to like have like all of my stuff. Like, basically I just had to deal with like what I had on my desktop.
It's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll,
Oh, I probably have to go to Zoom and.
so
Uh,
let's, you can go ahead and stop sharing on Zoom. And then I'll, switch me back to PC here. Okay, we're good to go then. Yanri, I'm gonna shut down the Zoom meeting for Zach's thing, so you can go back into Tim's Zoom.
Okay, thank you, sir.